Hey guys, welcome back to Thorough Capping. It's Dave. I wanted to do a quick review of Saratoga yesterday to follow up from our analysis. We did have one race, couple races actually. One was race number 1, which we didn't play anyway, but race number 4 was also taken off the turf. And like I said a couple days ago, I had a feeling that's what they were going to do, take the early races off and keep the bigger races on the turf. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this from a win value standpoint and just go over the results real quick. What I did was I put the off odds of the horses that we had as our top 4, and we'll compare just based on $2 win bets on the horses that were that did reach value. In race number 3, we had the 8-6-7-1. It actually came out 8-3-5-1. Okay, so the 8 horse had the 8 horse won the race, but he went off at 8-5. 12-1 was the only value on the 7. So that if that was a $2 bet, that particular race, if we went just with win plays, we would have lost $2. The 3 horse did come in and bust up that exacta and try if you played the try as well. And then the 5 horse. The 3 and the 5 did not figure for us rating-wise. So we would not have had the try or the exacta there. But the value wasn't there anyway, period, in that race. Race number 4, we passed it. That was taken off the turf with all the scratches. That left us with 2 horses. The 3 horse did come in second behind the main track only entry, who was the favorite. So it came out 11-3-7. So, I mean, but we didn't. We're not looking at that race. Saratoga 5th. 4-7-5-10. The value was on actually 3 horses. There was value on the 4 at 9-1. Value on the 5. Remember, I'm looking for 9-2 only. Or 9-2 or higher. And the 10 horse did win the race at 9-2. So that would have been a $6 play. $11. It would have been a $5.80 return in that race. Race number 6. Race number 6, we had the 4-1-3-2 as our 4 selections. The 7 did come in, bust up the exacta or the exotics, but the 3 horse was the only horse, or no, the 3 horse was 7-1 value, not the only horse. So we did get a 7-1 upsetter there, and the 3 horse was 7-1. Let me check something out here. Something's wrong. Yeah, so 7 horse was 7-1, paid $17 to win. There were 3 plays of value, so we would have spent the $6 on there, but we would have got $11 return in that race on that 7 winning. So if you're just playing straight win bets of value, I mean, you're ahead right now. Race number 7, and I'm just using a $2 base right now to make things easy. Race number 7. Race number 7, we had 3-1-5-2. It actually, we hit all 4. Came in 2-3-1-5. There was only 1 horse of value, and that was the 3 horse. The 3 horse finished second. It was 5-1. Actually, yeah, 1 horse of value. The 3 horse finished second, so I was off there. Came in 2-3. So that should be a minus $2. Let me just change that real fast. And let me just change it. Okay, guys, I had to pause for a second. We were right. Our mistake was I had these odds flipped up. The 2 horse was the only horse of value to bet at 5-1, and the 2 horse actually won the race. So we actually would have made a $11.80 return on that race. Okay. 2-3-1-5. I haven't checked any exotics, exacta, trifecta payouts. Race number 8, 7-8-4-6, 1-2-7-6. So there was only 1 horse of value. That was the 4 horse. The other 3 were 7-2, 4-1, 2-1. So we would have lost $2 on that race. The 1 horse won that race. Saratoga 9, 2-5-6-1, came in 2-6-5-7. All 3 of the 4 were undervalued, including the winner at 7-2. So we would have had a $2 wager in on the 1 horse who finished out of the money. So that would have been a $2 loss. Race number 10. That was the what do you call it? The Whitney, and 3 of our 4 horses, the 5, the 2, and the 1, all have value. And there was an upset in that race. The 5 horse did beat Cody's Wish with a 10-to-1 price, so we would have got $22.40, and we would have bet $6 on that race. So we would have made a $16.40 return on race 10. And then race number 11, 10-6-7-5. The 7 won the race. Went off as the 6-5 favorite, and we would have had 3 plays there, so that would have been a negative minus $6. So as a return, you would have finished up, I guess, close to $40 on the day. But the one thing I wanted to mention was, it was heartbreaking, but in Saratoga 8th, the 8 horse, Maple Leaf Mel, I don't know those you watching or saw it, but right at the wire, went down, had to be euthanized, had the race won, was 7 for her last 7, I think it would have been 8 for 8, and she went down. It was heartbreaking. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't do the video last night. It was just one of those nauseating, sickening moments, and it just sucked for her and the connections, and just seeing that happen, it's like kind of makes you rethink the game a little bit. But at the same time, that's our recap. Now, what I want to do this week, my early part of the week when I don't play, what I do is I experiment with things. What I want to play around with is trying to figure out how are we going to get a better. Our value wins rate is high. I mean, we're not hitting every race, which you're not going to hit anyway, especially when you're weaving around playing certain odds. Looking for certain value and playing around that value. Favorites are low odds are going to win at times, and you're not going to have it. What I recommend with exactas, I should say, not tries. Tries is going too deep as far as looking for this. But if you're playing these combinations, I wouldn't be boxing all of them. I wouldn't box all 4 every single race for 2 reasons. One, it hits the wallet pretty quick, and 2, sometimes you're not getting your value back. Okay, for 2 reasons. One, you box all these 4, and then one of these 3 come in and interrupt that exactly. You just lost $12. You box all 4, and 2 favorites win. Let's say the 1-2 wins, and then 7-1 comes in second. You just hit like for $5.80. You lost $7 on a winning ticket. So what I would do is, if you're playing live, look at the exacta will pays or probables, and look for the combinations that have the value of what you're looking for. If you're looking for an $18 or better exacta, only play the combinations that, with like 3 minutes to post, are showing that they're going to pay $18 or better for the dollar exacta bet. That way, instead of playing $12 a race, you may be only playing $8 or $6, because you're only playing your combinations that are meeting that value. Secondly, you may want to just throw 1 or 2 in, two plays in with using the horses that didn't figure for us. So you may want to go like 2 or 3 combos that are paying the highest with these 4 horses. That would be $6. And then pick a few combos out. Maybe, like in this case, 3-4 over 6-7 8. Because like I said, we're not going to be perfect every time. And then that would be another $6 bet. There's your $12. At least you have more coverage for $12 than you do if you were to play these 4. Because now you're including 3 other horses. And then chances are, if one of these 2 horses win, you have a good shot at hitting this exacta up here. But if one of these come in second, you probably have your win bet also to back it up on these horses as well. So you kind of want to just think about how are you going to be able to make the best profit using not only your horses, but maybe, again, I'm just saying maybe, tying in some other horses, especially the ones that finish higher, maybe close 5th, like this 6 horse here, and so on, and figure out how we're going to use these horses where we're not just going too deep into the pockets for one particular race. What I'm going to experiment with this week is not changing any of the ratings over here, but instead, let me pull up a past performance real quick. I'm going to play around with taking the best target rating, or the best target rating from the last 3 races. So what I'm going to do is, if there's no layoffs, I'm going to go and I need to refresh this. It's going slow. I'm going to take 3 races, use my target rating, use one of these 3 races that figures best for me target rating wise, use that as the target, and then dig for my ability like I normally do somewhere down here. So I'll still have a target rating, still have an ability rating, but just like when we figure out our pace lines, the velocity grid, we don't necessarily have to use the last race. We could go somewhat recent and look for a race that was that matches this horse's particular running style. Well, I'm going to do that for the target. So what I will do also, I will go and I will pull the best target buyer too. So again, if you're able to do this stuff in your head quickly, 15, 16, 17, that's an 83, 179 target buyer. And then I go up here, 19, 20, that's an 80. Add 3 points for the 1/8 of a mile difference. 83 is also an 83, but that is a 180. So I would use the best target buyer combination out of these 3, and then I would find the best for ability and use that. Same thing with the final fraction. I'm going to play around with looking at the last 3 races, which race pulls the best final fraction, and those are the numbers I will be plugging into my grid, and they won't necessarily have to be coming from the same race. They could very well be coming from 3 different races. If all 3 races were close and tight as far as these numbers go, I might get maybe a 1 point higher target rating from one of them, but yet the Briz rating might be higher in another, which is presenting a higher target Briz, but I will not be using this target plus that Briz. I will be using the target from that particular race plus that Briz, and then same thing with the ability, and the final fraction, I mean. Now, the other thing I will be doing, instead of doing a speed cumulative, and this is not something I'm just dreaming up now, this is something that I do for my follow the figures when I run those methods through a race. Instead of using the speed cum, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the adjusted Briz number out of the last 3. So what I'm going to do with that is, here's how it works. In this case, it would be a 96.5, and let me show you why. If the last race is better than the last 3, the highest, what I do is I take the second highest and I find the average between the 2 of them. So that would be a 96.5 is what would go into my speed cum column in this experiment. And then, for example, we'll find one, like this is another exceed, 90, 88, 85. I will take the 90 and the 88, and this will be an 89 over here instead of a 90. And then if you stumble upon a horse that did not exceed his best in his last 3, and we have a few here that have, this would be a 91.5 I would use. And I know we're only talking half points, but these 3 here, okay, this is a bad example because we're going from turf to synthetic, but let's say, for example, we use these 3. This 90 would be the one I would use because the 99 is higher. So that would be a 90 in the column. So instead of adding all 4 for the speed cum, I'm going to use the section of the follow the figures grid, and I'll pull that up real quick. If I go to follow the figure grids, let me find it. Give it a second. All right, here we go. That would be the last out adjusted here. Okay, so in follow the figures, if the last three were 90, 88, and 87, I would take the 90 and 88 and average them. That would be an 89 over here in this section of the grid. And then over here in this section of follow the figures, I would put them down as they are on the PPs. Okay, so that's what I'm going to play around with. I'm going to see if, one, if we're a little more, I don't want to say a little more accurate, because I feel like our win value plays are pretty spot on. We're showing value, we're showing profit here, but I want to see if we can get a few more horses that are figuring underneath for exotics, exactas, and tries for the races that we're missing on. And I'll just do a hypothetical analysis of it. I won't be playing them. And I'll just throw a video or two in early in the week. And I'll throw an analysis video in there as well. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this evolving all the time. I don't want to say that it's ever going to be complete where this is the way you need to do it, because playing this game is subjective enough as it is. And I want to find a way to at least take away a little of that subjectivity and try to pinpoint and narrow down why this horse may not have figured to a 93-1 using this new particular method that I'm going to try. This horse may figure at a 90.8, where one of these two figure a little bit higher, and one of these, the 7 horse, for example, may figure at a 94. And he comes in and actually gets into the exacta, where we had him outside looking in here. All right? So I'll keep you up to date with it, and talk to you soon. Thanks.